My Hispanic fiancée said she was out with the girls, but her synced messages exposed a live video of her kissing another man. That was the moment everything changed.
The night that tore my world apart started with a simple text message. My fiancée Aria said she'd be busy with the girls and told me not to wait up. I didn't think much of it at first. She was always making spontaneous plans with her friends. But looking back, something in her tone felt off. She'd been distant all week, constantly distracted, her eyes glued to her phone. I tried to shrug it off, telling myself I was overthinking it. I settled down to finish some work on my laptop, trying to get my mind off it. That's when a notification pinged on my screen. It was from her group chat. She had synced her messages to my laptop ages ago and must have forgotten about it. Normally, I wouldn't dream of invading her privacy, but the preview of the message stopped me cold. It said, "He won't know anything tonight." My heart started to pound. With a sense of dread, I clicked open the chat. Her friend had sent a video call link with the title, "Bachelorette Fun." Another message followed. "Make sure he's not online." My stomach dropped. The call was still active. My hand trembled as I hovered over the link, my mind screaming not to do it, but my gut told me I had to know. I clicked it. For a split second, the screen was black. Then it loaded, and my entire world shattered. There was Aria, laughing, her voice loud and unrestrained. She was surrounded by her friends and a stranger, a man who was touching her with a familiarity that made my blood run cold. She wasn't pulling away. She wasn't uncomfortable. She was leaning into him, basking in his attention. As I watched, frozen in horror, she lifted her drink and whispered something in his ear. He grinned, a wide, predatory grin, and her friends cheered as if this was the highlight of the evening. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely keep them on the keyboard. I wanted to slam the laptop shut, to unsee what I was seeing, but I couldn't look away. The man wrapped his arm around her waist, and she melted into his embrace. Then he pulled her into a deep, passionate kiss. Her friends erupted in screams and applause, like they were watching a movie, like my fiancé's betrayal was a spectacle for their entertainment. The air was knocked out of my lungs. It felt like a physical blow. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I just stared at the screen, at the woman I was supposed to marry, kissing another man while her friends celebrated. I quietly closed the laptop. The silence in the room was deafening. I didn't text her, I didn't call. I just sat there, completely numb, as the shock slowly gave way to a cold, hard clarity. I stood up and walked to our bedroom. One by one, I started packing her things into bags. Her clothes, her shoes, her endless collection of makeup, everything she once told me she couldn't live without. I gathered all of it, leaving nothing behind. Finally, I took the engagement ring, the symbol of a promise she had just annihilated, and placed it right on top of her jewelry box. Then I turned off all the lights in our home and sat in the dark, waiting for the sun to rise, waiting for her to come home. She finally stumbled in at nearly 6 a.m, reeking of alcohol and cheap perfume. She giggled when she saw me sitting there, awake. "Why do you look so serious?" she asked, her words slurring together. I didn't say a word. I just opened the laptop, turned it toward her, and pressed play on the screen recording I had saved. The color drained from her face in an instant. The giggles died in her throat. She lunged forward, grabbed the laptop, and slammed it shut as if that could erase the evidence. Then came the excuses. She started rambling, her voice frantic. "It was a prank," she said. "It was a dare, a stupid game. Her friends made her play." I held up a hand, cutting her off. I told her I wasn't interested in her explanations. Her voice rose, her panic turning to anger. She accused me of spying on her, of violating her privacy. I calmly reminded her that she had synced her phone to my computer herself and simply forgot to turn it off. She froze, the realization dawning on her that she had no one to blame but herself. Her own carelessness had exposed her. I pointed to the packed bags by the door. Her mouth fell open in disbelief. "You can't mean this," she whispered, her eyes wide. I told her the wedding was off. She insisted she had just been drunk, that she'd made a terrible mistake. I looked her straight in the eye and asked if kissing another man at her own bachelorette party was a mistake, or if it was a revelation of her true character. She tried to touch my arm, to close the distance between us, but I instinctively stepped back. That's when the tears started. She broke down, sobbing, begging me not to give up on us. I told her she was the one who gave up first, the moment she leaned into that man's kiss. She swore she didn't love him, that it was just fun. I asked her since when did fun include betrayal? She promised anything and everything. Therapy, endless apologies, whatever it took to fix this. But the one thing I wanted, the one thing our entire relationship was built on, was honesty. And she had shattered that into a million pieces. She reached for the ring box, but I moved to block her. I told her the ring stayed here. It belonged to a promise she had broken, not to her. Wiping her tears with the back of her hand, she asked where she was supposed to go. I suggested she call her friends, the same ones who were cheering her on last night. I was sure they'd be happy to host her. She grabbed her bags and walked toward the door, her steps slow and heavy. I could see she was hoping I'd call her back, that I'd stop her. I didn't. I watched her go and close the door behind her. Hours later, my phone started buzzing. It was her friends, sending messages calling me dramatic, heartless, telling me I was overreacting. I didn't argue. I just replied to each of them with a screenshot from the video call. The messages stopped immediately. For the next few days, Arya bombarded me with long, rambling texts, apologizing over and over again, painting herself as the victim of a drunken mistake. I never responded. Then one morning she was at my door. Her eyes were swollen and red from crying. She said she regretted everything more than words could say. I told her regret wasn't enough to rebuild trust. It couldn't unbreak a promise. She begged me one last time, asking if we could at least talk, really talk it through. I told her we already had our talk the night of her party, just not with words. Her actions had said everything I ever needed to know. She finally seemed to understand it was over. She walked away for good, leaving behind the future we were supposed to share. I closed the door gently, not with anger, but with a sense of finality. In that moment, I realized I hadn't lost a future. I had just narrowly avoided a disastrous one. And as painful as the truth was, it was the truth that set me free. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk away from the person who almost destroyed you. And that's exactly what I did. Thanks for listening to my story. If you found some strength in it, please subscribe for more.